Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of season two, episode one of season two of Messi and Co. podcast presented by Five Reasons Sports. I'm Ashley. I'm joined by the wonderful Gian. I hope everyone has had a really awesome holiday, and I know it's about to be the new year. Everyone got to be with friends, family, watch sports, watch whatever, just enjoying the time. I know we're starting a little later in the month than we wanted to, but we are here. We are back. You will be getting episodes every single week starting now. And I'm super excited. Before we even dive in, season two, are we ready for it, Gian?
Yep, we are excited. Excited. The season hasn't even started. There's already a lot of talk about a lot of things going on with Inter Miami. A lot of Inter Miami news, schedules, players, rumors, a bunch of fun stuff to keep us talking for quite some time. So we're excited to bring a bunch of new episodes as we get ready for the 2024 season, and I think that couldn't be happier to get back to talking about the sport we love and engaging with those of you that tune in to our podcast and tune into our YouTube videos. So we're just excited to get all this rolling again. We missed it. It's been some time, so we're just excited to get back into it.
Yeah, totally. Me and Gian were talking last night. We were so excited. We couldn't wait to do this. So with that being said, there is definitely things already to talk about before. I mean, we've made some big decisions in the
Yeah.
last couple of weeks, and to start off with them, well, we have a new number 9. We have a new center forward from Uruguay, Luis Suarez, who has an incredibly decorated career, who's just was playing in Gremio last season, but still seems to have a lot of gas left in the tank to get some more goals. And it's reuniting Messi and some of those amazing Barcelona teams of the past to see what they can do again. And so to start off with just your initial thoughts, your new sworn enemy, as he with the relation to someone you know very, very well, as he's played against your club Ecuador, your country Ecuador, and now took the number 9 from Campana, but we still think it's going to be fine. But what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, it's interesting because you're talking about kind of like the history that I have with Luis Suarez, as someone that's had to face him as far as the countries and in CONMEBOL and World Cup eliminations, and he's always been a tough opponent. But now to have him on my team again, because I am a big Barca fan, uh, to have him in Barca now, to have him here in Inter Miami is just something really, I think, really great and exciting to see. Just because I've been following his career for a long time, again from the international football to Barca to now. Um, and I think it's great for the club. You bring in a world-class player, a player that has a ton of experience, and that's something that we've kind of talked about our team, Inter Miami, where we've brought in players that have experience, and it's been a great mix, I think, between experienced players and young players, and these young players learning from some of the best players in the world. You know, we talked about our young midfielders like Remaski learning from players like Busquets and Messi. Now we've got our young player in Campana that's going to be also learning from Luis Suarez. So I guess there's a few different topics that we can talk about here in relation to Luis Suarez. So I think probably one of the ones that is top of mind for a lot of fans is what's going to happen with Leo Campana, right? He was the guy that seemed to be in favor after, I guess the second half of the season. He was the one that was getting more playing time. He was the one that was scoring goals, some magnificent goals. He's the guy that got a new contract and that seemed to be the future of Inter Miami. He seemed to have the trust moving forward from the coaching staff and from management. So now you bring in this new player on the team, Luis Suarez, who is an amazing player, a goal scorer, did amazing in Gremio. He literally takes the number 9 from Campana. So what's going to happen with that? I think that I personally am not too worried about Leo Campana losing his position or losing a ton of playing time. I think that taking into consideration that Luis Suarez is a little higher up in age, He's got some health concerns as far as his knees. Those are things that he's talked about a lot in Gremio, saying that, he's had to take some shots for his knees. He's had difficulty sometimes waking up to even getting on the field, but yet he's performed at an excellent level. I think that taking that into consideration, you're going to have a lot of shared playing time between Luis Suarez and Leo Campana. There'll be games where Suarez starts. There'll be games where Campana starts. There'll be games where Suarez comes out maybe around the 75th minute and Campana finishes the game for him. So I think that's all really going to depend on what games there are, what tournaments there are, how much playing time, the schedules, how many games there are within a short period of time. So I'm pretty sure we'll get a lot of Campana and a lot of Luis Suarez minutes. I don't know if we'll get them together. That's something that's yet to be seen. We saw that last season. We didn't have a lot of two forward schemes or formations, but I definitely do think that we'll see them. We'll see a lot of both of them. And then just I think one more thing about Luis Suarez. How is he going to perform in MLS? Is he going to be able to play? Is he going to do well? Is he going to score? I mean, he just came from playing in Grêmio, one of the top teams in Brazil, one of the top leagues in South America. He had played 33 matches. I believe he started for all of them, if I'm not mistaken, or close to all of them. He scored 17 goals, had 11 assists. That means, man, he did amazing in Brazil.
Amazing.
There is no shot that he's not going to come here and not do amazing as well. I mean, Ashley and I were talking.
Teammates back.
Yeah,
of course he's going to be
of
amazing.
course. And you and me were talking about it. I mean, we saw some of the goals he was scoring. They were effortless. They were like world-class, amazing goals. You look at times like he was practicing. So if he comes to MLS, man, I think we can expect more of the same. And now we see him with even better players, I think, than in Brazil with Messi and Busquets and Alba, people that he was used to getting assisted by all the time in Barca. This is going to be a party of goals when he comes, as soon as he gets here. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, I definitely agree with a lot of what you said. I think what probably was the plan last season was for Joseph Martinez to be a really big mentor for Campana, and I don't think it ended up working out that way. And that's not really that much of a knock on Joseph Martinez. I think they just maybe expected a little bit more out of him than he really had left in the tank. And I think he's signing for a South American team, I believe, very soon, which is, good for him. But so what I imagine is part of the plan is because we have so many games, we have so many tournaments, we have so much happening over the year, it is not realistic that every player is going to be playing every single minute. And so I think, Campana, how old is he? Like 23, maybe?
I think he's 23.
So, if he could do one more year and you have Luis Suarez and Messi as your mentors for a full season, and you learn how to be ruthless in that final third, I think it could only help you. He's so young. He is talented. And I think, give yourself at least one more year, even if you're not the star player yet, give yourself the year to learn from these attacking players and hone in on your craft, because Luis Suarez is one of the best examples of a striker of the last 15 years. Like, people can say what they want. As consistent as the day is long, the high IQ of, one of the best, a champion, a winner. And that's what you need to learn. And so I think it's really, really valuable for him to be able to take that. And then, there are people who are saying, oh, his knees are out, he's old, it's not worth the money, it's not worth doing it. I disagree. If his knee gives out and he gets hurt, then it was a bad decision. And, those are risks you take sometimes. But I think for football heritage and for Inter Miami, the club and what it's trying to grow and to be, the fact that you're giving all of these players the chance to recreate that Barca team and to bring the sport to America, like the amount of money they're going to generate for US soccer and people watching and loving US soccer is so it's priceless. It really is. It's going to bring so many more fans, so much interest, so much gauging, lots of great stuff. And so for Inter Miami fans who have felt maybe a little slighted when it comes to the ticket prices and just the overall experience sometimes with the front office, I'll tell you this much. Moves like this is what's keeping people happy, because you're clearly trying to put out a product that is worth it for everyone watching. And is it a long term? Is this your team for the next 10 years? No. But shoot, if it's your team for the next 2, then it's going to be a hell of a 2 years.
Yeah, and it's crazy because some people actually look down, or they complain about, oh, Messi's bringing all his friends in. Oh, I mean, that's part of why he came, was the influence that he has to bring in world-class players
and teach young players.
And I mean, if Messi wasn't here, let's be serious. Do you think Suarez would be here? Or do you think Alba would be here? Busquets would be here? No, that was part of the reason why he was brought in as well, was the influence that he has, where there are players that are willing to take less money to be here on his team. And that's why we're going to have, I think, one of the best teams in MLS history this coming season because of those sorts of things.
100%. So yeah, I mean, we're excited. I'm excited to see what Suarez does. I hope he stays healthy, because not only is he going to score a lot of goals, I think he's going to teach a lot, because he has, Messi teaches in a different way. Busquets, Alba, they all teach in different ways. Luis Suarez is emotional. He's passionate. He is pure instinct in front of the goal. He's ruthless. And that's what you need your attacking young players to learn.
Yeah.
And so 100%. I'm excited. But so just like you had said, this is perfect for us to move gears, getting excited for this season and this team. So before the season, though, is the preseason. And we had learned over the last few weeks that Inter Miami is doing quite an involved preseason tour. And I'm going to just read it really quickly. So starting January 19th, they're going to be in El Salvador for a friendly. I mean, these are all friendlies. So it's El Salvador. And then January 29th and February 1st, they're flying from here to El Salvador. Then they're flying all the way to Saudi Arabia, where for all intents and purposes will probably be the last match ever between Messi and Ronaldo. Yep. Which I think is kind of great and poetic. And I mean, obviously, I don't think the Saudi League from we don't have to get political. I mean, I don't think it's great, the concept of it. I don't think it's amazing. But I think what is cool is that 2 of the best to ever do it are ending on their own terms in their own places, reinventing the sport in their own way. And
I'm definitely looking forward to that. Definitely.
And so I think that's going to be a really wonderful game and a really wonderful moment. But then after that, they're traveling to Asia. 3 days later, they're playing in Hong Kong, and then they're playing in Tokyo. And then they're back here for their final preseason game against Messi's boyhood club, Newell. So I'll start. There's a lot of mixed feelings about this. Some of it completely justified. Some of it maybe a little bit of a stretch. What is justified is that it is ridiculous to try and put those many miles on these players before they start what is going to be an incredibly grueling season. They should have organized it in a far better way. They should have been able to space it out more, or they should have made a choice of either Asia or Saudi Arabia or Latin America. Like you could do one of them. You really shouldn't do all 3. Shouldn't go to all 3 places. However, like I said, I think the fact that we're getting that final match between Messi and Ronaldo and the amount of money both clubs are probably getting for it is 100% worth it, because the footballing world deserves to see them play one last time, knowing it's their final time and knowing, it's their goodbye to each other and the beginning of their goodbye to the game. So I think it's actually really great. And it's going to generate a lot of money. And what we've said multiple times, and what is so important to remember, is that these big players and everything that's happening now, the money grabs, this, that, and the other, Messi is going to be playing for us max 3 years if we're really lucky.
Yeah.
They need to make as much money as they can so that they can invest it in the club. And what, like LA Galaxy and MLS was able to make 10 more years worth of growth and infrastructure and signing and growing the league because of David Beckham and then Zlatan Ibrahimovic. They were only there for very short amounts of time, but the amount that they got, that the league and the team and the supporters and the infrastructure of the club benefited from it is why this league is becoming better and better every year, and why we have our own team now, because the league kept growing and we had the opportunity to get it. And so people need to realize that, like, these preseason tours and things like that seem silly or this, that, and it's all necessary for the amount of money that they're paying these players and the amount that they're, going to pay for media rights and this, that, and the other. They have to. And so I think it's great. I wish they weren't, like I said, my gripe is I think it's a little too much. I think it's like one city too greedy. It's like one extra trip too greedy, where we really don't need to do both Asia and Saudi Arabia, but we'll see how it plans out. What are your thoughts?
So I can understand some of the pushback from the fans, definitely, because from a health perspective, after seeing what happened this season,
Yeah,
with all the injuries that we had, obviously adding that amount of games for preseason, adding that amount of mileage and travel, it definitely does take a toll on players. So I can understand the grievances from the fans, but I think that the fans also only focus on that, and they maybe don't understand the reasoning behind it, which you touched on. And I think it just comes with the territory, really, with what Inter Miami is trying to do. Inter Miami is bringing in world-class players. They're trying to become a global brand. And part of becoming a global brand is bringing global awareness to your team. And that's what they want to do.
and that's what big clubs do, right? Like
Exactly.
that's a really great point. I mean,
They're
Messi and
not
them,
the first.
Barcelona, Premier League, every Premier League top 6 club was in Asia, Australia,
100%.
America during the summer,
Yeah,
every single year.
it's what you have to do when you're trying to become that type of team and that type of brand. So they have to do
They
it.
have to do it,
They have
100%.
to. They have to do it. And to your point, they're not the first team to do it. Like,
They're
so
probably the first MLS team to do it, though, and that's
yeah,
what makes people uncomfortable. But this
yeah,
is what they're trying to do to make
yeah,
this league
yeah.
soar. You have to.
Exactly. And you have to also remember, beside the sport, this is also a business, and it needs to be treated as a business. So commercially, this is what they want to do. They want to get the team known around the world. They want to sell jerseys. They're going to get, as you said, TV rights, commercials. All of this is just part of the overarching investment, because think about this. These are owners that are investing millions and millions of dollars to bring in these players. They need to also recoup
The
their
stadium.
investment. Yeah, correct. And then to be able to reinvest into the team. They're not just going to be just losing money. So that we need to understand that. Another thing, another thing is, okay, as far as injuries and, overworking players or overplaying them, look, they're going to manage this responsibly. I believe they're not going to give everybody 90 minutes. There are probably even going to be games where Messi might play 30 minutes, might not.
Right.
And I'll say this, I might not even play, because look, Barcelona, literally, I think it was last week or this week, December 21st, they played against Club America, right? They came here to the US. They played against Club America from Mexico. They played with the B team. And I'm not talking about the substitutes on the bench. I'm literally talking about the B team, the ones you didn't even know existed. They played with them, and I think maybe like Yamal played and Joao played, like two players from the first team. The big teams do this. I can't say for certain if Messi is going to play every game, or he'll probably play, but the minutes are going to be staggered, is the point. This is why they're building. This is why you see all of these rumors about different players, which you're going to touch on soon, is because they're going to, especially with the schedule and all that. And with this preseason, they're going to fluctuate these lineups. Different players are going to get certain minutes. So I would say from that point of view, like, don't worry that much in that sense, because I believe that they'll manage this strategically and making sure that they're keeping the players' health top of mind, knowing that you've got a season that is going to be incredibly jam-packed, full of games.
Yeah, 100%. And like I said, I think that the game against Ronaldo is going to be awesome. Everyone's going to really be happy it's happening. It's great for the sport. And in Asia, they're important. Like the Asian markets bring a lot of money to soccer,
Yeah.
and every team, every big club in the world does it. They go on these tours during the summer. We're just thinking of it differently because we're in a different schedule than them, but they do it too. It's part of what you have to do to invest in your
Yeah.
team and to grow your brand.
And part of having a global brand, and it's incredible. I wanted to share this. I just came from Ecuador, and look, the impact that Inter Miami is having on a global scale is incredible, because you see fans from different socioeconomic backgrounds from all levels having a jersey. I went to Ecuador, and I would be in the mall and maybe in locations that were more affluent, right, where people have the money to do that. But I was also in the neighborhoods where there isn't a lot of money, and there's people selling things on the street and trying to make ends meet. And those kids even had Inter Miami jerseys. It was incredible to see, like, just how much of an impact Messi has had on Inter Miami, and the awareness that that's brought in. That's what they plan on continuing doing with these types of tours.
100%. 100%. All right, cool. So bringing it all back together to what we talked about at the start of the show, which was Luis Suarez. We're starting to hear rumblings, especially with the January transfer window, which is basically in Europe and Latin America. Who are Inter Miami going to be getting, and who's coming and who's going with Inter Miami to reinforce this team a little bit? Because like we keep saying, and we're probably going to be a broken record about it all season, there are so many games. There's so many games. There's so many tournaments. There's a lot to do. And I mean, I have to imagine that the goal for this Inter Miami team, with the amount of investment they've put into it and understanding that it's finite, I mean, I'm probably a treble is what they're going for every trophy. Like, it's going for league trophy, it's going for every cup trophies, whatever it is, they want to win. They need to win. So that's so they need to have a deep squad where they can be able to maybe rest players, or more importantly, just be strategic with who's playing and who's starting, being able to do multiple different formations, maybe sometimes being able to play two strikers at top, like, when a Messi can't play, being able to figure things out. And so a couple names that have, obviously we already know about Suarez, but a couple names of players who Inter Miami want, or that Messi wants, if we're being honest, would be two to start, which is Marcos Rojo and Cristian Medina, both who play for Boca Juniors, both who are Argentinian. Rojo is obviously a defender, center back, so a position that we could certainly use some more bolstering in. Even though I had to die on my sword for Kamal Miller last season, who I think did a good job, honestly. And then Cristian Medina, who is a midfield player. And both parts of the pitch that we certainly need some help in. So what are your initial thoughts about the two Argentines?
Yeah, so I think that the main focus for Inter Miami, at least for me, is, and I'm pretty sure we probably agree, is the defense. The defense was a big issue for us last season, especially the center back positions.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out what we're going to do there. We have Kamal Miller, we have Aviles. Aviles seems to be probably the guy that's going to be the starter. The guy in question seems to probably be Kamal Miller. And then you've got a name like Rojo, who's played for big teams in Europe, like
Man United.
Man United, and now he's playing in one of the biggest teams in history for South America, which is Boca Juniors. So I think that having a player like that is, man, if you can have Rojo in as your center back, I think you're set. Like that.
And also, really quick, just as a reminder, Aviles did do right back a couple times during the season. I mean, it's obviously not his main position, but he did a pretty good job, and he's good at moving forward. So I could see a world where you see all three of them play. I can see a back four of Kamal Miller, of Aviles at the right, of Rojo, and of Jordi Alba. I mean, obviously, we're very far away from beginning to start about thinking about those lineups, but I can see it happening because Aviles had to do right back a few times, and he did well.
I mean, if you're going to bring that up, we could have Rojo in the center back position, maybe along Kamal Miller, but because I mean, before he came over, when he played in Racing, he does very well with the ball on his feet. He does very well pushing the ball up. Like I could even see him, and man, I don't want to jump the gun here. We'll talk about Gregory, but if Gregory isn't here,
number 6,
to play along next to Busquets, I would love to see Aviles play next to Busquets in the midfield. Like that would be
he's great on the ball. He's great on the ball. He's had some
yeah.
great attacking runs throughout the season, but so
yeah, to your point, I mean, Kamal Miller could possibly still stay at center back. Rojo could come in, and then you can mess around with Aviles because again, he's played that right back, as you said. He can possibly play in the midfield along Busquets. And then talking about who else did we say from
Cristian Medina?
Yeah, and then Cristian Medina, he is apparently being sought after not only by Inter Miami but also by Botafogo. It's looking like it's going to be around $7 million. That's or $7.5 million. What would take to bring him in? So it's quite a hefty amount of money. But he's a really good player.
Really
they reinforce the midfield, and to what you had said earlier, and we had been discussing, is that it almost seems like you're bringing in a lot of players, or have interest in players that could be starters. So that brings it back to Inter Miami probably wants to have a deep enough team where they can field 2 competitive lineups or a mix of 2 competitive lineups,
or at least where you have maybe like you have your A team, and then you have 4, let's say 4 or 5 that stay, and then the other 6 that can be switched.
Yeah, and you don't kind of lose too much competitively. So I think that when they're looking at these players, again, you might be looking at some of these and saying, dang, if he's coming in, he's a starter on his team, or he can be a starter here, who's leaving? It might not be that they're going to get switched out. It just might be a really good reinforcement, again, just to field 2 very competitive teams. But yeah, Cristian Medina would be really good. We're waiting to see what happens with Boca and if they decide to, agree to that. And
I think Rojo seems like a pretty strong possibility, which would make me very happy.
Oh, again, to me, number 1 right now is the center back position. If we can reinforce that center back position, you get Rojo. To me, you are set and basically set in that defense.
Yep. And so those are the first 2, and then before I do the next two that we think may end up leaving, Gregory, like we said before, has had talks with Botafogo, and they have a lot of interest in him. And we love Gregory, and he's done such a fantastic job at this club. It was a very unfortunate injury that happened to him last season. That was a bad tackle, and I think he would have helped make a huge difference with this team. But he's a DP, he's a designated player. He takes a lot of money and allocation and a DP spot. And with how we have Busquets now, Arroyo has done a very good job of being Busquets' backup for all intents and purposes, and do it like not backup as in doesn't start, but like backing him up on the pitch, being able to, because Busquets doesn't maybe have the legs in him anymore that he once has.
Yeah,
Arroyo has done a very good job of picking up those defensive spots when needed. And the price difference and the value difference between Arroyo and Gregory is huge for our roster implications and for our DP implications. And
Arroyo is out, so we have to actually find a replacement for Arroyo, which in that case could be, to what we had said earlier, moving up a guy like Aviles and plugging in a center back there.
Or Nicolas Lodero.
Yeah, also same there. And then with Gregory,
Seattle, Uruguayan.
Yeah, to
Wait,
your
I
point
forgot.
with
I
the
forgot Arroyo was leaving. Never mind. I said a
yeah.
whole thing about Arroyo. I forgot
No,
about
I
that.
mean it was true. Your point is still valid though.
Right,
Is
that
that
it was able
that
to
was
find a cheaper replacement
exactly.
that does the job, that can do a much more, because
Yeah,
Gregory had to do both things. He had to be,
yeah,
both sides of the coin, and obviously Busquets can be that side of the coin now, where we really just need that defensive enforcer. That's a lot more of an
yeah.
easier, less costly position to
Yeah,
have to
and
create.
apparently Inter Miami is asking for about $4 million to let Gregory go. So, I mean, it's kind of a win-win. You get
Yeah.
$4 million for Gregory, which is really good value. You free up a DP spot. You have Busquets. You can, to what we said a second ago, you can plug a cheaper option there, and then you have a whole DP spot to mess around with. Which, so
Yep.
I think that we might see that happen.
And then LGP, Leandro Gonzalez Perez, who has been back and forth between MLS and South America. I think it's going to be very dependent on how much defensive reinforcements we get.
Yeah.
Because he was with Tata Martino in Atlanta when they won the MLS championship, and he is a good defender. I think he's a little bit of that Argentine spirit, we can say, where maybe
Yeah.
sometimes on the pitch could be a little bit tough, but he's not a bad option by any means. But I'm sure there's a lot of South American clubs that would also be interested in him, and so it's the same situation. I think if you can get enough value for it, then you do it.
Yeah, we got to see
And
if River Plate allows him to leave the Gold because he's done very well. So River,
mhm.
it seems like River wants to keep him. So we still got to watch for that. If they don't purchase or buy his rights or purchase his contract, then he could probably make a comeback to Inter Miami, and it would be great because again, that center back position needs a lot of help.
Yeah, exactly. And then last but not least, the player I want to talk about just today to finish off, who's really interesting, is Julian Gressel. Not It's not Argentinian and not Uruguayan. He's from Germany. But he plays for the Columbus Crew, who just won the MLS Cup, as we know, the MLS Championship. He has been a very good player for a couple different teams in MLS, a seasoned MLS back who has, like I said, he has been a player that has done really well, has won multiple trophies, and is very consistent, and he's 30. So what he can bring is he can bring experience of the MLS, which is different league than all other leagues. Like, it's important to have those those statesmen in your squad who know the league and know how you have to sometimes win those games. Not every pitch is the same. And so I believe he's a fullback in terms of what his position is. But he was a midfielder mainly. Like,
Yeah,
he's like a midfield to fullback, kind of goes back and forth. What he could really do, he plays for the US soccer team. He had dual citizenship, so he's played for his country. He's gotten a few caps. Yeah, I think to tell you the truth, especially if we get rid of Gregory, I think getting Julian Gressel would be a huge, huge, huge positive move to make.
yeah, I think he did obviously very good for Columbus Crew. He started out of the 18 games that he played, he started 16. He's pretty durable. He had 3 goals, 5 assists in those 18 games. So you're talking about out of 18 games, he took part in 8 goals, whether scoring or assisting. So not only is he good, I think defensively, but he's also very
Yep.
good in making sure that he gets other
And that
players involved.
transition
Yeah,
that, with the Kromaski and with Ruiz,
yeah,
what they're still learning as young
exactly.
players is that transition, that going from the bat from that middle third, right? That middle third,
Yeah.
being able to control the ball and getting it into the right attacking lanes, making the right passing decisions, making the right holding decisions when you're running back and forth and you're on breaks is so valuable. And that's something that, Busquets can't do it every single play for every side of the pitch. You need other players to be able to do it there too. And he's one who 100% can and can definitely offer us to be able to take, which I imagine will stick to be a 4-3-3, to be able
Yeah.
to play around with those three midfielders, to give people a chance to, like I said, some rest, some start. He can play fullback if needed. He can play that 6 if needed. He can play the 8. He's really, really versatile.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that those are the areas where um, I think that we need to reinforce our the defense, but also the midfielders and having players because we've got offensively we're set. We've got Messi, you've got Robert Taylor, you've got Suarez, you've got I just had
Arias.
Farias up front. To have players that can stand their ground in the midfield, make sure they play good defense, but get those balls quick over to the forwards. Man, because
That's right.
we've got guys that can play make, but man, when you get those guys in stride and those guys are lethal up front. So when you can have players like that, and Julian Gresso is a player like that, I think it just makes the team way too dynamic, and it's a nightmare for defenders because they don't know what the heck to do because the ball comes out so quick. We see those passes from Busquets recovers and bam, doesn't even give the defense a time to set up. They just right away put the ball, play the ball up front, and yeah, Julian Gressel would be great doing that. So that's exciting to have that possibility.
I can see, for game 1 of regular season, your front 6 is Messi, Suarez, Farias, Busquets, Gressel, and either Kromashki or Mota. Like I could see that 100% being those front 6.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that would be definitely a good front 6, and then obviously you've got Robert Taylor, or I don't know if Robbie Robinson that can come in as substitutes, and you don't really lose that much because they're very good players. So yeah, I think
it'll be exciting.
Yeah,
it's exciting. We have a lot more we're going to learn over these next couple of weeks about who's staying, who's leaving. Who of those new players are we actually going to get? Who on our team are we maybe going to be saying goodbye to in order to make that room and give us a deep squad that has some flexibility, whether it's through allocation money, DP slots, whatever the case may be. But look, we're back. Messi and Co. Season 2. We couldn't be more excited. I'm excited to be talking about soccer again at this level. We're going to have an awesome season. We're going to be doing a lot of both on and off the field. We're going to have a really great season. I think in the new year, we're also going to hopefully do some more in-person live things, whether it's at some of our partners' locations or if it's even going to be at the stadium, So just keep listening. Like I said, at least an episode a week starting now. We're really happy to be back, and I'm ready for season 2. You ready?
Yep, I am ready, excited, and I just can't wait for the season to start. There's so much stuff going on. I'm sure that you guys will tune in. Again, like Ash said, a ton of episodes, at least one a week promised. But if we promise at least one a week, but I'm sure with all this news that's going to be starting to come out, probably maybe more than one a week. So, but we're just excited to be back on it. Super happy.
And lastly, follow us on social media. Instagram and Twitter, Messi and Co. We post a lot of really cool stuff. We do some clips from our episodes. We ask questions. We say who do you want to keep? Who do you want to sell? Who's in your dream lineup? A lot of fun, interactive. When there's new Inter Miami news breaking, you can get it on our Twitter. Follow us and stay in touch. And I'm excited. All right, vamos. We're done.
Let's go. See you guys on the next one. Bye.